Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything movies, TV, comics, and entertainment. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go. Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. What is happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me, as always, in studio, you know him. He is the co-host. His name is Padre.
Hello, hello, hello.
Folks, we have a lot to talk about in the land of movies, TV, comics, and more. You are tuned into the entertainment edition of the ODPH, and we definitely want to interact with you after the show. So make sure to swing on over to odphpodcast.com. Join in the conversation on social media. All our accounts are right there. Check out Parlay Point's new comics blogs dropping this week. Man, we got a loaded lineup from Boom Studios. The TeePublic store, which, listen, this is the perfect time to go get some ODPH swag and support the podcast, and also have some cool gear for the holidays. All that and so much more is at odphpodcast.com. And we always remind you to use the hashtag ODPHpod on social media so we can definitely interact with you because, whoa, we have a lot to discuss. Kicking off this edition of the show, we are going to be recapping episode 4 of Disney Plus's smash hit Hawkeye.
And before we get into spoilers, I just want to say, and I'm not going to spoil anything, if for whatever reason you haven't seen Black Widow, which, hey, if you haven't, that's your own choice. It is what it is. I would recommend watching that movie before you watch this episode. And if you haven't started the series yet, because you might be one of those folks waiting for all the episodes to drop and then you're going to binge it. If you're one of those folks and you also haven't seen Black Widow, I would recommend watching that movie before you watch this show.
Yeah, it's all tying in together because, hey, it's Marvel. It's all connected. But since we are following the saga of Clint Barton, played by Jeremy Renner, and Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld, we have now entered into the heart and soul of the Fraction David Aja run. Mm-hmm. And we're really kind of incorporating that to the MCU, which I can't stress enough. When you go to your local comic shops, go pick up the trade paperback, go pick up the issues. It's a fantastic story. And definitely how they're presenting the feel of that on this show. It's really resonating with fans. A lot of people are talking online saying this is the best show of Marvel's Disney Plus run thus far.
And I got to say, Marvel, you're missing out on a golden opportunity to reprint this book and make some good bucks off of that, because I received a $25 gift card to Barnes & Noble for my birthday from my girlfriend's parents about a month ago. And I was over at Barnes & Noble in the comics section looking for something to pick, and I had just seen Hawkeye the last couple of days, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see if they got the Fraction run over here. Figured they would have reprinted it. It's on Disney Plus right now and nowhere to be found.
And I got to search online for it right now. Or best yet, go to your local comic shops and go ask them if they can bring some in for you. I'm sure that they will be more than happy to assist you this holiday season. I've been rereading Marvel Unlimited, but I'm also looking for it at my shop too. That is how dedicated I am to this story, because it is just a fantastic read. And the more copies of this you can get right now, the better, because this is something you want to definitely give to new readers, because they're going to see the show and go, okay, what's the comparison? Why is this so great? And you can see the elements they're borrowing. And so much from David Aja's run, I can't stress this enough, is implemented in this show. He deserves all the co-credit for this as much as he can deserve. The man absolutely crushed it on the book, and you can see it resonating on this show. And as we are jumping into the latest endeavors, we are going to be talking spoilers of Episode 4, entitled Partners, Am I Right? Mm-hmm. So, we give the countdown on the show. If you haven't seen it, and we don't want to ruin anything for you, we're going to say pause the episode right here. Pad timestamps it in the episode notes. Yep. So you can jump right back in, or skip it and go to the other part of the content that we have presenting here.
Well, because don't worry about the timestamp. I specifically timestamp it where we are done talking about the spoilers, and it's pretty much the end of the segment.
Exactly. Pat is on top of that for you, because we don't want to ruin anything for anybody. We have the 72-hour social media embargo. We don't post anything on our accounts. And if somebody tries doing it on ours, we delete them, because we don't want to ruin it for anybody. So that all being said, once we get done with the countdown, it's game on. So in 3, 2, 1, Pad, what did you think of episode 4?
Thought it was an okay episode. Wasn't the best they've ever done. Well, also wasn't the worst. It felt like setup. I don't want to call it filler, but it felt like kind of like an in-between two battles kind of thing, if in movie terms. that, your first battle's done and this is kind of the lull before you get to the second battle, that like we're coming down from what happened and we're setting up what's getting ready to happen. And I enjoyed it.
This was one of their stronger episodes, I thought. It definitely captured the feel of the Fraction of Ja run. Like, for me, there was so much about it that it just kind of clicks in, and I'm going, okay, this is what really sells people on Clint Barton as a character.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, when we talk about the other Avengers he's been featured with, he is the weakest link.
He's also being made the most human Avenger there is, and what I mean by that is he's not a god, he's not a billionaire, he's not a super soldier, he's just a guy with a very particular set of skills. Whereas Thor, he gets knocked down, he gets back up. Same with Banner. Tony, if he's got an issue, he gets beat back down, he can throw his money at it and fix it. We're seeing what an average Joe, or average Clint in this case, would do in the situation and just how he would handle it. Because let's face it, it's not every hero has a mutant healing factor like Deadpool or Wolverine.
Right.
So it's very interesting and it's great to see.
Yes, because where we're jumping in is they're trying to track down the mystery of why Echo and a lot of other people are coming back at alleged reappearance of Ronan, his identity adopted during Avengers Endgame when the blip happened, and it's just kind of a little messy situation that he's trying to clean up.
He was feeling a certain kind of way.
Yes, because now Kate Bishop has now been brought into this world, and he's trying to save her and get her basically out of the superhero realm as much as possible, but they keep finding ways that they're getting brought back in. And where we jump in for here is Clint and Kate decided to go to Kate's mother's apartment and try hacking into the computer-based system because they're trying to track down her future stepdad and what nefarious deeds, allegedly, Jack Dukanis is involved in.
What are you talking about? He just wants to sell Girl Scout cookies.
Right. And as we jump in from last episode, Jack is there waiting for Clint with a sword right by his throat.
Yeah.
And Eleanor, Kate's mom, has to come in and jump in and save the day and just really kind of bring some peace to the situation because Kate winds up smoothing the situation over with Clint and basically saying, well, I'm an Avenger and this is why I'm here. And
investigating.
Yeah, and it's kind of a funny thing that they're trying to sell the celebrity part of this because you can definitely tell that Clint Barton is not happy and comfortable in his own skin being referred to as a celebrity.
Yeah.
It's driving him absolutely crazy during this.
Yeah.
And to see how Eleanor and Jack are reacting about this, it's kind of a camouflage to what they're really up to. And I like how they're pulling this off thus far. Because once they kind of diffuse the situation, go, oh my God, you're here. And then Kate is, well, he's my partner. We're involved this together. We have to do some investigating.
Yeah.
And you can just see, like, Clint is just rolling his eyes and head. Going, oh my God.
And you can also tell this isn't the first time he's had to do this because, like, he's dropping this, like, every whim. So, like, he's not hesitating. He's not having to go, Like, he's just, no, here's what we're doing. All right, I've been here before.
Yeah. So once they kind of spill the beans about what's going on to a degree, they do make like a small getaway, at least.
Yeah.
Clint does. From this. And on his way out the door, Eleanor stops him and says, my daughter isn't a superhero. Don't bring her into this mess. You have kids, I'm assuming. You know what I'm going through with this.
Yeah.
So really bringing this situation to a very big human element stop.
Yeah.
Because Clint is realizing, I'm obviously bringing people in that are not really ready to go, even though Kate has shown that she's able to handle herself thus far.
Yeah.
But once Clint leaves the situation and Kate kind of takes off and does her own thing, Eleanor makes a phone call to somebody and gives a little tip of what's going on.
Yeah.
Any speculation, Pad?
I mean, Kingpin or somebody in his inner circle. I don't think she's got a direct line to Kingpin, but I think she's got a line to somebody in that inner circle.
I'll be honest. I think it is Wilson.
Okay, that could be.
No. Like, your theory is spot on, too. It's somebody connected to the big bad crime boss.
Like, I know. I don't know. Like I said,
haunting here.
Like I said, I don't know too much about, Eleanor to really say, oh, she's worthy of having a direct line to the Kingpin himself. I could see her being, because, Christ, what's going on in her household, she can't be unaware of. I would imagine that she's got a line to somebody in the organization, whether it's, first in command, second in command, or even the secretary.
Well, with Wilson Fisk involved, as it's alleged to be, we don't know have anything concrete at this stage. you know that he can definitely get a hold of somebody and really have his hands in all the cookie jars around New York City and beyond then. So it's not to say out of the realm of thought that she has a direct line to him, because who knows what blackmail he might have on her.
Uh-huh.
And especially involving the mysterious background of Jack, you never really know what's going on.
You also don't know what the hell is going through his mind.
Exactly. So they haven't tipped off too much there, but I thought it was very interesting that she called somebody.
Yeah.
Now, could she be calling somebody at S.H.I.E.L.D. too? That's a possibility as well. But
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards Kingpin in this, because let's face it, it's Wilson Fisk.
Yep.
It's got his fingerprints all over this. So as Clint escapes this situation, he does call his wife Laura and kind of updates the situation going on. And she is doing some work in the background too. I did really enjoy this scene.
Yeah.
Because as he's calling from home, he's speaking in code.
Yep.
And his wife, who at this stage, I don't know if she has a S.H.I.E.L.D. background.
She has to.
But I'm assuming.
She has to.
Yeah, there's something new about this character that we don't know about. And she is just translating like what's going on, and now she's been doing some digging into Jack.
Well, because they start speaking code in like code words and whatever. I'm like, all right, he could have taught her that. Just like, hey, I'm talking to you while I'm on a mission. Let's not worry the kids, you know. But then she started speaking like Russian or something.
Yeah.
Russian or something. And I'm like, all right, she's got to be former S.H.I.E.L.D. or at least have a Black Ops background.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like there's more to her character, and this is some new territory for me.
Yeah.
That I'm not familiar with, because as far as I remember, she's a brand new character to the MCU.
Right, and the first time I think we saw her in the MCU was Age of Ultron, and all we've known of her is that she's married to Clint, they've got kids, and they live in the rural part of the country.
Yeah, because he's always been tied to Mockingbird.
Yeah.
So there's never been this new character, but so it would be very interesting. I don't think that she is going to be revealed to be Bobby Morse. I don't see that happening with this one. But I'm very interested to see how they played off moving forward. And this scene, like I said, was a very strong one too, because as Clint's getting the information he's so desperately needing, he does find out that Jack, well, his instincts are right.
Yeah.
Because he is the boss of Sloan Unlimited.
Sloan Limited.
Or Sloan Limited, I'm sorry. And we find out that, well, they are into what, Pad?
They're a shell company, so they're just a face for what's going on in the background. And they're laundering money for none other than the tracksuit mafia.
Yes. So the pieces are now starting to fit in all over the place.
Insert the Charlie Day meme where he's, connecting all the dots.
Yes. While this is going on, Kate Bishop is starting to put together some other pieces too.
Yeah.
Of why does Clint have so much of a protection about me? I was just wearing the Ronin costume. Why is that so important to him? Oh, wait a sec. He might be Ronin.
Yeah.
Which is very smart on her ploy too. Like I gotta say, Haley Steinfeld is absolutely crushing this role right now.
Oh my God, yeah.
And really winning a lot of people over the character Kate Bishop, who was already popular to begin with.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to say within the comics in the next year or so, you're going to see a bigger push of her in the major team books. Not saying you're going to see her added to the actual Avengers flagship, but don't doubt a higher profile coming from this, because she's absolutely making this role stand out. So as they're kind of playing this out, Clint is on his own side mission going on, and he does go find Maya's, a.k.a. Echo's, #1 right-hand man, Kaze.
Yep.
And basically says, listen, I can make life very difficult for you, but I'm going to very loudly stress this to you. Ronin is dead.
He punked this guy so hard, and I loved it.
Oh, it was amazing. They met down at some old junkyard.
He's in the back seat of the car. Ah, shit, let me grab my gun. Nope, already got that. And then he goes later, they're talking, goes to reach for the knife. Nope, got that too.
Yes. So it is very interesting to see how Clinton is just pulling his inner Batman out. But we also have to remember he is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, too.
Yeah.
Just how well he was thought about this. And it did seem like he had some prep time, so you never know. Like I said, that was a little Batman comparison there. But it was a very cool scene to see how he was just really stressing to Kaze, listen, tell your boss, Echo, Ronin is gone. It's not Kate.
Yeah.
I know for a fact. However you need to translate this, you got to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he winds up leaving, and obviously after punking Kaze off,
can I have the gun back? Chucks it away.
Chucks it away. Like, he is very determined to make sure Kate is going to be safe about this. However, though, we wind up getting a little more information from Clint's wife, because what is tying back into episode 1 about this illegal auction that was going on of rubble from the Avengers Tower, we find out that there is a watch that's missing that is very, very important because of why, Pat?
All the information, it's for somebody who's apparently still undercover, or at least that's the way Clint's playing it off. And if it falls into the wrong hands, that person's cover will be blown because all of their important information, including their identity and several other people's identity, is on said watch.
Do you have any idea who this is?
I have no idea, but the man basically left his iPhone in an open room without a passcode on it, and you get what you deserve. I know a lot of people were speculating something to do with Tony. I know a lot of people were speculating something to do with Tony online because, hey, watch and all that. Tony was never secret about anything he did. So I don't think it could be Tony. I don't know. I really have no, my first thought would be his wife, but she's been apparently out of the game for so long that she's not still undercover. I have no idea.
I got a feeling it's Nick Fury.
Ooh.
That somehow Nick gave his watch to Clint or somebody there at the tower. Maybe Natasha had it as a failsafe to get a hold of him, because how important would those secrets be if they were released to the public?
And Nick is a type of person to have a plan, a backup plan, and then like 8 other backup plans.
The contingency plans he has are
I could see it.
Mind-blowing.
I could see it.
That's why I say, like, for Clint to be acting this way about a watch, it's either one from Natasha, which would make sense too. But then again, I could also see it being Nick Fury, because there still is that connection there. They haven't really delved that too much. And we do know Nick we're going to see a lot sooner than Natasha.
Yeah.
In theory. So, putting all the pieces together, that's where we're kind of leaning at. But we do know that the watch was stolen by the Tracksuit Mafia. I'm sorry, I still crack up every time I hear this name.
It's a great name.
It's fantastic. And the signal is kind of radiating from an apartment. So during this point, Kate comes over and has this very heartwarming moment where Clint, obviously being away from his family at Christmas, is having a Christmas party with him. Yeah. And really trying to win him over and get him in the holiday spirit. Since he's done so much for her, she's trying to do something back. Yeah. I thought this was just a really cool scene. Like, usually I kind of get upset when they go really over the top with the humor and such here. But no, it played off well.
It was a nice break from all the tension.
Yeah, I'm good with this. And like I said, it kind of ties into that vibe from Fraction and Ja, in my opinion. I think they just made it stuff a little easier going, and you can kind of smile a little bit when you're reading the pages, and you can see it on screen too. Like I said, it had that vibe.
Oh, yeah.
It. But when they get going on their plan to go get the watch, well, there's a little difference of opinions.
Yeah.
Clint has something mapped out, and basically Kate is saying, well, you're just not going to work this way. I should try doing it this way.
Yeah, why don't we higher vantage point would be better? And he starts going through every, like, listen, the entry point isn't going to be the issue. It's getting out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I see this.
Yeah, so it's really cool to see the tactical side of Clint, because what we've seen so far, he's been pretty much straightforward, hasn't really kind of teetered off a little bit. But to see how he's breaking down missions, I thought was very interesting. Yeah. And we do see Kate just go on her own way, working her way into the apartment building, scaring a tenant.
She goes full Batman on him. Like, there's a shot of him talking. He's analyzing the situation, turns around, and she's gone.
Yes. And only in New York City could you just go walk around with a bow and arrow in your backs.
Also walk in the middle of a street and not get run over.
Yes, and especially with those arrows that they had to basically bribe another LARPing group?
Well, no, I think it was the same group, or some of the members from the same group from the park, because the one guy was there again. But one of the LARPers was a police officer because his trick arrows were in police lockup.
Yes.
So they needed the officer to go commit evidence tampering and get him back.
Yes, but Kate kept referencing, it's for an Avenger. And, everybody's kind of willing
to... It opens a lot of doors.
Yeah, willing to do that. So that was a cool scene, too. Didn't want to spend too much time breaking that down. It was just another fun scene to see how Kate Bishop is analyzing the situations.
Clint walks in the door. Hey, you want a snickerdoodle?
Yeah, he's like, wait, what the heck is going on? But he's got his arrows back. And this is going to play into a very big point as we move forward here, because Kate finally gets into the apartment. Uh-huh. And one thing you notice when she comes in the apartment, she sees their lights are blinking.
I knew instantly where they were, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, it's a silent alarm.
It's a silent alarm, but it's also a way for those of you who don't know, if somebody is deaf or hard of hearing and they have a house, a lot of times they will put a flashing light or a strobe light in the house so that if you go up to the doorbell and ring the doorbell, it might ring for somebody in the house who might be able to hear, but if not, it will just flash. So they go, "Oh, hey, somebody's at the front door."
Right.
Also works for alarms.
And sure enough, Kate goes in, is looking around. She has to take out 2 of the lights, but she doesn't get the third one, which was right behind her. Mm-hmm. But she does find the watch.
Yeah.
So at least that's been recovered. However, though, she is greeted by Echo.
Yeah.
Willing and ready to go for a fight.
Well, she starts before she even meets Echo, she tries telling Clint, she goes, "I think this is Echo's house." And meanwhile, Clint is getting the shit kicked out of him on the roof.
Yes, because the mysterious agent that has been shown in the promos is finally revealed.
Uh-huh.
And we're not surprised because we knew that she would be appearing on the show sooner than later.
Yeah.
Who is it, Pat?
It's Yelena Belova, a.k.a. Natasha Romanoff's, a.k.a. Black Widow's sister.
Yeah, Florence Pugh has made her appearance on the show finally that we've been waiting to see all season because, let's face it, after the events of Black Widow, we knew that she was going to be looking for Clint.
Uh-huh.
This is the bonus scene. And
Hellbent and hell brimstone.
Yeah, exactly. So they're fighting now on the rooftop across the way. Kate makes a dramatic arrow shot across, trying to shoot the grappling hook.
Yeah.
And tries making a desperate slide across because Clint's telling her, he's like, you got to go bungee line across. Gets stuck.
Of course she does.
Because reasons.
Wouldn't have been an issue if she was on a higher vantage point.
Right. But eventually gets over there from some help from all the fighting going on.
Yeah.
And then we now have a fatal 4-way, so to speak, because everybody's trying to kill Hawkeye except Kate. Kate's trying to defend everybody else off. They're just going at it on a wild fight scene, too, on top of the roof. So I got to say, the stunt choreography for this was on point. They were definitely really selling that nobody was on the same side as anybody else.
No.
Kate, though, did wind up injuring Echo, which I thought that was a very cool way to establish her, because at some point she just had to really step her game up if she's going to be considered on that level of Hawkeye.
Well, I think she had to realize how serious she has to take it, and that this isn't just a game, and this isn't just you and your friends in college trying to ring the campus bell from across the way.
Because once she winds up using a concussion arrow, which causes basically everybody to lose focus.
Yeah.
This is when she shoots 2 arrows into Echo's shoulders. So it's not a fatal shot.
No.
But she definitely was establishing what's going on. Yelena's mask is ripped off. Clint knows who she is because after he gets a widow's bite shot to his neck, he kind of starts piecing 1 and 1 together.
Yeah.
She does a jump off the roof a la Black Widow.
Yep.
Which we've seen before. And this is the second time somebody jumped off the roof, too. Because even Kate wound up getting shot off the roof, with a grappling shot.
Yeah.
Clint had to go pull her up. So this one was kind of like echoing that a little bit. And Clint is having flashbacks to the scene from Endgame where Natasha falls off and sacrifices herself for the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
So after the smoke is all cleared and Echo has escaped, Yelena's escaped, Clint comes to the realization and is very forceful to tell Kate, we're not partners.
She's like, why not?
Yeah, and she is not understanding it, and he's going through like, I can get you killed.
I think he even mentions, he goes, I have a Red Room Black Widow or some variation. I forget what exactly he said, but he outright said, I have a Black Widow assassin after me. You cannot survive this.
Yeah, he is point blank about this. He did seem like he knew Yelena too.
Oh, I'm sure he did, because as close as he and Natasha were, I'm sure she talked about her.
I'm sure she talked about him for being a face-to-face. Like, he kind of pieced 1 and 1 together and was like,
sure.
Oh, okay, I see how this is going.
Well, because how many, you even think about it, like, as we don't know how many Black Widow assassins are out there. How many would have an axe to grind against him? 1.
Well, you never know because of the organizations.
True.
Because as far as he knows, the organization is gone. However, though, if he has one coming after him, he is starting to piece 1 and 1 together. Like, somebody's coming after Natasha, might be coming after me.
Sure.
Piecing all that together. So they leave parting ways, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Show ends.
Yep.
So in retrospect, what is your thoughts about the episode, and what do you got? Any speculation for next week?
Didn't seem like there was a lot going on, but if you pay attention, there's a lot going on. It's a lot of, like I said, a lot of setup and a lot of build for the final 2 episodes. I think next week, and there's some speculation going on that it's going to absolutely break the internet. I think we're going to get a face-to-face with Yelena and Clint. She's going to capture him, and she's going to bring him face-to-face with none other than Echo and Kingpin.
Okay. I thought this was a very solid episode. I really enjoyed this one. A lot more than I thought I was going to.
Sure.
Because usually I don't like those happy moments when it's supposed to be all serious. I know I'm kind of a Grinch. It happens. But I thought they pulled it off masterfully. I really felt the Fraction and Ja run really stood out in this episode especially. Like, it had that vibe to it.
Right.
And I'm very interested to see where they're going to go with Yelena. And I've heard the speculation, as you did too, that next week is supposed to break the internet.
Yeah.
Well, I got one of 2 ideas that's going to happen.
Okay.
One, if I have to do a lock and leap.
Sure.
Lock, we're seeing Vincent D'Onofrio.
And I got to say, allegedly, there was supposed to be a bonus scene in the credits of this week's episode involving him. Allegedly. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, if it were true, they decided to cut it.
Yeah.
I did read that this morning.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see him next week. My leap, though, and I think this would definitely get everybody going, Scarlett Johansson reprising as Natasha.
That'd be a hell of a twist.
That you're going to see, not saying a full involvement in the story, but a cameo of some sort. New footage.
Okay.
I think we could definitely see that happening because if you're going to tie in Yelena, depending on how you want to wrap the story up with Hawkeye, Natasha is going to be involved in one way or another.
I think if she is, they won't do that until the final episode.
I'd hope not, but like I said, a quick cameo.
Because to me, that's the Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker moment from Mandalorian, where like that is the build. Like you cannot top anything after that for the season.
Well, the only question that you have to ask at this point too is, and I don't understand the filming timeline, so if I'm wrong about this, at OD Parlay or on Twitter, #ODPH Pod. When Scarlett was feuding with Disney, was the show still filming, or was it the show got done filming before the feud broke out?
Let me see. Casting, filming. This is according to the Wikipedia page for the Hawkeye TV series. It says, quote, filming began in early December 2020 in New York City with Rhys Thomas and Burton Birdie directing, with Eric Steelberg and James Whitaker serving as cinematographers. So they were filming this in the early part of December of last year.
Oh, then yeah, the feud. Then by the time she was feuding about Black Widow, it was done. Okay, so it is possible that she is on the show then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say that's my leap. I'll say Black Widow because that would break the internet.
Oh yeah.
Because let's face it, Natasha is considered dead. But if you believe the rumors about the alleged other bonus scene from Black Widow, where she would be whistling back to Yelena,
yeah,
it's not out of the realm of thought we won't see her in here.
So yeah, they filmed it early. I'm just reading further. Additional filming took place at Trillis Studios and Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. On February 22nd, 2021, filming began in Canton, Georgia for a week, continuing in the area between March 4th and 5th. Filming wrapped on April 21st. Reshoots occurred in Toronto, Canada from September 7th to 9th. So there's some time in there, not reshoots, that if Scarlett Johansson appeared there, she could have.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's a possibility. I'm not, like I say, it's a leap. I wouldn't be that super shocked, but I would at the same time because this would be super kept under wraps. And people are so speculating about Kingpin because obviously the news that we'll get into in one shots about Kevin Feige's comments about Charlie Cox.
Yeah.
D'Onofrio is a lock. We're going to see him at some point.
Uh-huh.
Next week could be the time, and especially the timing of it is the episode drops before Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. I don't know if they'd want to wait just one more week before they spoil anything, because how do you explain Kingpin coming there and then whatever's going to happen in No Way Home?
Mm-hmm.
It's a fine line to walk, but I'm sure Disney is very well aware of that situation, and they're definitely going to be presenting it very, very strong. So we give fair warning for next week.
Yeah.
Watch the internet.
Don't go onto the trending section of Twitter at all.
Exactly. Avoid the trending section next week because people are going to spoil it like nobody's business. Don't be that. Be better than that. But for this episode, in closing, it's a very good one. I highly recommend watching it. So does Pad. The show has been on point. Everybody's really excited about Kate Bishop, as they should be. I'm surprised we haven't seen more Pizza Dog plush toys coming out in this holiday season. We need more of that. And Disney Plus keeps that ball rolling on with another great series on their show from the MCU. We gave you our takes of Hawkeye. Now we want to hear yours. Hashtag ODPH Pod. What is your thoughts about Partners, Am I Right? Episode 4 of Season 1 of Hawkeye. Let's discuss, shall we? We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Wednesday Pull List, your friendly neighborhood geek podcast hosted by two old friends. My name is Lex.
And I'm Simon. Come check us out for all your comic book reviews, collectible news, and all your geeky nerd news that you're looking for throughout your week.
Dropping new episodes every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Check us out on all our social media at Wednesday Pull.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and let us take a run through the CW universe.
Yeah.
The Flash has come back with its crossover event, Armageddon.
I wouldn't even say it's a crossover because crossover would entail multiple shows, but it's just kind of like a mini event.
It's a mini event, but they kind of build it as a crossover a little bit because they're borrowing from most of their CW shows.
Yep.
And obviously, going in Season 8, it's been a little polarizing of how The Flash is really resonating with fans. A lot of shows have tuned off from it. A lot are kind of still there, waiting to see what is going to go on. Because at one point, it was the best show on the CW. However, it's kind of faltered a little bit over the time. So, obviously, coming back with a big event is the right way to do it. The event has been very solid thus far.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of talk about spoilers that are happening in Episode 4 of Armageddon. So you know the deal by now. After the countdown, we go heavy in spoiler talk of the episode. So you have been fair warned, because once we get done, we get going. In 3, 2, 1, Pad. What did you think?
Thought it was a good episode. Enjoyed the interesting look at, kind of like a DC what if story. I enjoyed that aspect of it. Certain parts of the story I just did not care for, and I'll get into that once we get to it. But overall, I enjoyed the episode, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
I will say this. I thought it was better than I was expecting it to be, which is good.
Yeah.
Because I've kind of gone into The Flash with a very low bar. I really have enjoyed the show over the years, but I think the past couple seasons I've just tuned out. It's just, when you have such a great rogues gallery and you only recycle one speedster over and over, it doesn't click with me, because I've read the Flash comics with the rogues gallery, and you have so much potential to use that when you go to the Eobard Thawne well so many times, it's kind of like, it's great seeing Tom Cavanaugh play him because he does such a great job, but I do like to see somebody else step in that role.
Sure. I mean, and I understand that, but I think they also haven't. I would have an issue. I see your issues, but like for me, it hasn't been that much of an issue because they've done it a few times, but they haven't done it frequently enough. And by frequently, I mean in such a short space of time together where it feels, they got no idea what they want to do. They don't have any ideas. They're just dipping into the old tried and true. They're using him again and again. Yes. Could they use other speedsters or other villains? Yes. But for me, it's been spaced out enough that it's not really that big of an issue.
No, then that's fair. Like I say, I'm not judging. If you really enjoy seeing him, that's cool. Like I say, I don't blame anybody about it. I just say for me personally, it's like I wouldn't like to see him as much because we just saw him at the end with Godspeed and that storyline. So for me, it's a little too close, but that's me.
I want a Tom Cavanaugh spinoff, goddammit.
At this point, they should just do it.
The man of like 1,000 acting faces.
Exactly. Just give me that on HBO Max or give me it on CW. Like the world of Harrison Wells. I'm good.
Yo.
Just do that.
Didn't they have the one iteration go off to like explore time and space with what he had left?
Yeah.
Give me that one.
Exactly. You want to make that the new Legends of Tomorrow? I'm there. I'm perfectly fine with it. But where we jump in here is Barry is now ran to the future because he is now getting framed as it is appeared to be that he is the one that brings Armageddon to our universe.
Uh-huh.
And we have the alien Despero coming in and really playing judge, jury, and executioner here.
Without a trial.
Yeah, which I know him from the comics. I like him better in the comics than I've seen on screen. I haven't liked the script writing for him. It's but I can stomach it. It is what it is. But after he finally figures out what's going on, Barry runs to the future, 2031. And he walks into a scene that I don't think he ever wants to see.
No, if he could go Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and wipe it from his memory, I think he would.
Oh, yeah.
Christ. Gets into the future, in the middle of the street, and then he goes sees a sign that says West Party or whatever it says. Walks in there, and you've got a whole bunch of folks he knows, and they're in their formal wear, I guess you could say, dresses and tuxes and whatnot. But then you see on stage Eobard Thawne or Tom Cavanaugh, and he's monologuing, but he's monologuing in such a way that this isn't Harrison Wells. This is Eobard Thawne, and he's talking about you never know. It's a replay from how the last episode ended. He's talking again how you never know what face fate will take, and come to find out he is engaged to be married to Iris, and the wedding is tomorrow.
Yes. So at this point, Barry Allen, played by the one and only Grant Gustin, is there trying to go, what is going on, and talk some sense into everybody. And it does not go over well.
Yeah, he walks in there, what is he doing here? You've got some nerve being here.
Yeah, so it is now the new incarnation of the Justice League, I'm assuming, because we do see Ryan Wilder, a.k.a. Batwoman. We do see Ryan Choi, a.k.a. Adam.
Yep.
And we see a lot of the group there attacking Barry Allen.
Yep.
During this moment, Barry winds up escaping a little bit, and it's revealed what we already kind of knew, that Thawne was behind everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's even a wild moment where he's like, no, listen, guys, I'm from 2021. I'm the Flash. I can prove it. And he pulls out his ring, and he runs really fast, and then he comes back, and he's not wearing the red suit we all know and love. He's wearing the yellow Reverse Flash suit.
Yeah, which was just weird.
And he even brings, I think if I remember it, he even brought up Joe's name and Joe's wife. I'm sorry, the actress and character.
Candace Patton?
No, not Candace.
Oh.
The woman who marries him. I forget her name. Freaks the fuck out. How dare you bring up his name when you murdered him? And Barry's like, wait, what?
Cecile Horton?
Yeah, thank you.
Played by Danielle Nicolette.
Yeah, Cecile's like, how dare you bring up his name when you murdered him in cold blood?
Yeah.
Then we find out he also killed Vibe.
Yeah, that happened. Cisco has been taken out of the equation here. So there's been a lot of stuff going on that is pretty much Thawne-esque.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, like I say, he's a great villain.
Yeah.
But to see that Barry is now trying to run back in time and figure all this out, because everything just gets crazy as he's finding out, because it is broken down that at the midnight of this timeline, Barry is gone.
Yeah.
And now the alternate timeline, bear with me, folks, it's speedsters, this is what happens in this universe, is going to be solidified.
Yeah, so what we find out is Thawne was the one who sabotaged the Star Labs. Thawne was the one who ran by and killed Joe. Joe is dead. I know Tom Craven was messaging me the night that episode. Oh, you think he's actually dead? He's actually dead, at this point. And then come to find out, he's like, oh, and that's not all I did. I pulled the ultimate trump card. I went back in time and killed you at your birth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cold-blooded, but hey, it's Thawne. So then we find out, yeah, you've got until midnight, because that Barry looks at his hand and it starts fading away, and that's when Thawne goes, you have until midnight, and then you will cease to exist, and my timeline will solidify.
Yeah, so once that happens, it's going to be cemented. Barry is no more, so obviously he is trying to do anything he can to save the world.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, it's brought up that, because of your boneheaded move with Jefferson Davis in thinking you lost your goddamn mind and trying to take your power away, you took away about 95% of your speed force, so you've only got about 5% left, so you really can't do anything about it.
Yeah, so obviously he's in a little bit of trouble.
He's up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
But he goes and finds an old friend? Question mark?
Yeah, so he's in hiding, Team Reverse Flash, Team Flash, I don't know what to call him, is trying to track him down with negative tachyons, and he's not emitting much, so they can't find him. He's hiding in Cocoa Jitters because, hey, where does one go to hide? Oh, I go to hide in a coffee shop, plain as day.
I do it.
And he hears he hears a news report about how Damien Dark got let off on a technicality, what was it, 6 days ago, something like that?
Yeah.
And protesters are outside of his house because he was, charged with him. He was found guilty on a murder charge, and then, so they're outside his house, and his accomplice, the Reverse Flash, is still at large, and he puts two and two together going, oh, I need help. Damien Dark is alive in this universe. He's very helpful and very handy when it comes to this shit.
Yeah, so Barry winds up running into him, and they kind of work out a plan to get some revenge.
Yeah.
And until Dark figures out what's going on, because he is like, you're not acting like the Barry I know.
It was so good to see Neil McDonough back as Damien Dark. Oh my God, he's so good as Damien Dark. You know, they start coming up with a plan, but Barry that we know isn't acting as ruthlessly as the Barry that Damien knows in this universe. You know, there's a device he built that is integral to their plan to, you know, because Barry spins this whole line of, oh, this universe got changed. You know, I went and tried to kill the Flash and I almost did. But he went back in time and he changed the time, you know, typical Flashpoint type of stuff. But and it was a great spin job on Barry's part because it was technically the truth. You know, but it was presented in such a way that Damien would buy it hook, line, and sinker and go, oh, okay, no, this all, like he even says, oh, no, this makes sense. You know, so they go looking for a device, you know, that is integral. I forget what it was called, the FED or something like that. They go looking for that's in Star Labs, you know, and Damien goes, oh, what better way to ruin the Flash's wedding day than killing his best friends the night before his wedding? And as he goes to kill him, Barry runs him away and he's like, listen, what is wrong with you? Why would you do that? He's like, oh, listen, we'll kill him later. It's not worth our time now. That's the tip off of, you're not the Barry I know. He wouldn't hesitate on this stuff.
Yeah. So Barry comes clean and explains what happens. And Damien is not on board until Barry drops one name.
Yeah.
Nora.
Yeah, because Damien thinks he's lying.
Yeah. Surprisingly, it wasn't Martha. Yeah. But once he brings up about Damien's daughter, Nora Dark, and says, in my timeline, she's still alive and she's happy.
Yeah.
That is the one weakness in Damien Dark that he can't walk away from.
Damien Dark goes full-blown Rick and Morty, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah. And says, basically, I've sacrificed everything for her. I'll do it again. I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah.
So they come up with the plan about, listen, we got to get everything going here. The other members of the Team Flash, though, at this point, I got to say, this was probably the downside of the episode for me.
Yeah.
The fact that they tried forcing in the love story between Allegra and Chester. You want to take this one?
Yeah, so we see moments of Team Flash trying to track down Barry and trying to find him. And I understood that, and I was all right with that. Hey, you know, it's keeping the story going. What I didn't really get and didn't understand was it's character development, sure. You know, I think part of it was true just based on whether they actually hooked up or not. I don't know. You know, but their feelings for each other, I think, is from the timeline we know is true. But why they kept going with the "I love you" and this and that, I'm like, I literally said, you know, they got to the point where, you know, they said "I love you," and I'm like, why are we doing this? It's not going to matter in 2 minutes. Exactly,
unless they're going to have that come back to our timeline. Which I think they were kind of teasing a little bit.
Sure.
Not super over the top last season.
Yeah.
But enough that I was like, okay, I think they're kind of leaning about making these two a couple.
But no, I mean, I just don't understand, you know, the scene with Ryan, you know, Troy and Chester, you know, go in the whole, oh, no, you don't need love. Stand on your own. She left you. Like, oh, he ghosted her. No, she ghosted him. Like, I'm like, why? This ain't going to matter. We're going to reset the timeline and put it back. Like, why?
I agree with you. I thought it was filler.
It was.
I was like, like we could do so much more with this episode, especially you brought in the characters from the CW.
Yeah.
Like, why are we so focused on this if you're going to hit the reset? The only thing is, unless they try saying that that's going to linger over to the timeline, but like I say, you could have done that later in the season.
Yeah.
Not for the event, because technically everything's reset, unless you're going to say the timeline is actually now the timeline reasons.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that.
That like I said, at the start, I had one issue with the episode, and that was it.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that, because I thought that took away a lot, because they gave it a lot of time.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a throwaway scene.
No, it was a couple of scenes.
Yeah, it really took up I want to say, our episode, 15 minutes, give or take, altogether?
A little less, I think.
Okay, it was right in there on the ballpark, but still, it's just like, Because once we start getting back to where Barry now has to try convincing Iris he wants to say goodbye before he ends the world, Thawne comes there, they wind up having this face-off. Iris has a weapon pulled out that can stop a speedster.
Yep. It was given to her by Batwoman, because Batwoman's got to go back to Gotham. Two-Face is wreaking havoc. Hey, I get that.
It happens. It's the life of a Cape Crusader.
It's Gotham. Even in Batman Beyond, it still has its issues.
Exactly. So with this weapon, though, Iris chooses Arbery, not her husband to be.
Yeah, because hey, their love is crosses dimensions and crosses timelines. You know, he gives her the line earlier in the episode, you know, you're my lightning rod, and that really puts her off-footed because when she's talking to Thawne later, she brings it up. Mm-hmm. She goes, he said, you know, I'm his lightning rod, and she goes, that doesn't make sense. She goes, nobody knows that phrase except you and I because that's what you say to me. And I think Thawne shit his pants a little bit where he goes, oh, fuck. Like,
yeah.
This ain't good.
He got tipped off because Damien Dark kept saying, love is your power. Yeah, you're the avatar of that.
Yeah, the Paragon. Yeah,
the Paragon.
Because, you know, Barry's really having issues with, like, I don't think I can follow through on this plan. I don't have enough Speed Force. And he goes, well, you don't need just the Speed Force. You have more than Speed Force. No, I don't. Dude, you're the Paragon of love. Like, love can accomplish a lot.
Yeah, so once this all goes down, Barry starts running again.
And I got to say, I laughed a little bit when, you know, he's like, oh, he's crunching the numbers of how fast and how fast he needs to go. I need to hit Mach 20 to open the portal to go back into the past. But to hit Mach 20, I need a runway of, I forget, it was like 44,000 feet or yards or something like that. Mm-hmm. He's like, there's not one that exists on Earth. I'm like, dude, just call Dom Toretto. He knows one.
Exactly, because it's all about family. So Barry does make the dramatic escape, even though he is warned about what's going to happen if he does this.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's Barry brings it up or Damien brings it up that he's like, listen, you start running this fast because, hey, Google it. Mach 20 is fucking fast. Mm-hmm. It's going to start causing issues. And sure as shit, he does start running across the globe because, hey, the globe is pretty darn long and long enough for him to run and hit Mach 20 in 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. It does start causing issues. I forget everything that happened, like a tsunami hit Japan, volcanoes start erupting, the ground started opening up across some of the major cities around the world. So, hey, Armageddon's happening.
Yeah, so as this is all going on too, Damien Dark is trying to help him as much as he can, but he winds up getting attacked by another version of Team Flash.
Yeah.
So we see Killer Frost show up with the Atom, Sentinel, and
Chilblain.
Chilblain?
Yeah, okay. I gotta admit, I don't remember who this guy is.
I think that was the guy that Caitlin was investigating at the bar.
Oh, you know what? That probably is it.
And I completely blanked on him, so I had to go to Wikipedia too to find out because I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So sure enough, Dark is doing what he can to stop them. Buys enough time. Barry escapes.
We get a sweet John Constantine reference.
Yep.
That was awesome to hear.
Yeah, they definitely tied in a lot of Easter eggs, which was one of the bigger sides of this episode.
Yeah, I love Chilblain and Frost show up, and he's like, don't you realize I can summon a coin out of thin air? And Chilblain goes, yeah, but we know a guy, and for 24 hours you can't. And he goes, Constantine? And they go, uh-huh. And he just goes, I hate that guy.
Yeah, it was so cool to see.
The delivery was so good.
Yeah. So Barry does the dramatic escape. Everything that Thawne did is reset. Despero tries coming for Barry.
And holy fuck, we get back to 2021. Can we just say how dark that got?
Oh, that got dark.
What the fuck? Like, even for Flashes was dark. You know, it comes back from commercial. Despero's in, you know, the bowels of Star Labs. You know, Cecile's tied up, you know, and getting tortured like it's, you know, goddamn CIA interrogation or some nonsense, you know, and he's like, listen, for the last time, I'm going to ask you, where is Barry Allen? And she's like, I'm told you, I don't know. He goes, listen, you don't tell me, you'll join your friends in the afterlife. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. He winds up like killing everybody. You see, they're all brain dead from their heads exploding pretty much.
They're tied up in chairs and they're all dead.
Yeah, it got dark. And like I say, that was closer to Despero from the comics than we have seen the entire 4 episodes prior.
Yeah.
He fights very, very dirty. It's just what he does.
It was close to 9 o'clock. They pulled it off.
Yeah, they pulled it off because Barry comes in. Like I said, you see the reset button hit, and
Barry doesn't even come in. It's just like the out of the temporal wave.
Yeah,
you know, whatever you want to call it. The green flashing light comes through, resets everything. And Barry comes in with the device on his chest, and Despero just goes, "What the hell did you do?"
Yeah, and Barry goes, "Listen, I fixed things." And I prove that was framed. You think I'm lying? Go to 2031.
And he explained the whole thing. He like, Iris was right. Somebody was messing with the timeline. It was Eobard Thawne. If you don't believe me, go to 2021. And he tells him, what you saw is true. I did cause Armageddon, but it didn't end the world. It reset it.
Yeah.
And I got to admit, that explanation of like what he saw wasn't what happened, and if he'd have just stayed there another 30 seconds, it would have been explained out. Like I'm like, that's kind of cheap.
It is cheap.
I felt it could have been delivered and written a little bit better.
Oh, I agree. That's the one thing with this episode. Well, I'll get into that after we wrap up, because after the happy ending happens with Team Flash and Barry reunites with everybody, we do see that Ebarthon still survives somehow. And showed up at Star Labs.
Yep.
Where Gideon is.
He's in the Gideon room.
Yep. And activates Gideon and says, we're going to fix everything.
Yeah.
Fade to black.
Yeah. And with the preview, I know Barry mentions he's taking away my life one part at a time.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they play it off, because Armageddon officially ends on episode 5.
Given the preview, I don't think so.
Well, we'll kind of...
ends on part 5. Sorry, I misunderstood you.
Yeah, it ends on part 5.
Gotcha.
So we'll have to see how this all shakes up.
Yeah.
But, Pat, I guess final thoughts on the episode?
No, yeah. Enjoyed the episode with the exception of those few parts, but it was very good to see, some of the characters reunite on the show that we hadn't seen on there in a while, and I'm excited to see where it goes next week.
I will say, I thought it was a good episode, except for the filler segments.
Yeah.
The filler stuff, I really thought took away from me. Even though, like, when they get to the heart and soul of the matter, and it's Barry one-on-one with Thawne, you really understand why the Flash is still hitting strides with fans. Like, on the TV show, that is. You really see that Grant Gustin's portrayal of Barry Allen is still as good as day one. However, though, you just need to get stronger writing around him and to pull this off. Like I say, they did well for the most part with this episode. And like I say, I understand what they were doing, and I wasn't mad about kind of certain things here and there about the overall story. I thought when they just dipped and dived into different areas and the whole Chester and Allegra thing, I was like, okay, this could have gotten summed up a lot quicker and a lot less forced on us, because I'm guessing they're going to be foreshadowing. That's the only thing. To give that much time to it, there's got to be some more to that romance coming down the line.
Yeah.
I don't know when, but we'll kind of see where. And then just, I mean, like I said, some of the other minor writing issues, but that's something that's been plaguing the Flash for a little while.
Yeah.
At least I will say this. I was happy we didn't get the music exit. The usual, like, happy, like, dramatic, like,
So early seasons of Smallville. Yeah.
Yeah, like, we didn't get that, because I was expecting it. I'm like, oh, please don't do that.
Yeah.
That just takes away too much.
Yeah. A little bummed they didn't get Joe to actually show up on the telephone call, because, like, given the shit and, like, the entire fandom and the internet thinking Joe was actually dead, would have been awesome to hear him on the other end of the phone. But I get it. Probably busy.
But either way, the episode was everything that it needed to do, kind of tie up everything. Going into the last episode of the crossover, too, because, I mean, they could have ended it right here and there, and I would have been okay with it.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll get another surprise going in, and maybe the timeline's getting reset. I mean, that's the only thing I can keep on thinking they're doing, is they're having Thawne come back for this one. Either way, the Flash is definitely making some noise. Love it or hate it. So definitely hit us up on that hashtag ODPH pod. What is your thoughts about the Armageddon crossover? Have you been watching it? What is your vibe on it? And definitely let's interact on social media about it, because we definitely have got a lot of opinions for it. So that being said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Wine, Dine, and Storytime. I'm Nydia.
I'm Dana. I'm Cindy, and we're your hosts.
Have you ruined a family gathering by asking what wine pairs well with eating a husband?
Are you the CEO of TMI? Have you ever been kicked under the table because you brought up your favorite dinner topic, atrocities throughout history? Then this podcast is perfect for you.
Each week, Dana and I share stories based on topics that include true crime, historical shenanigans, unexplained mysteries, and all things fascinating, while our amateur chef Cindy prepares themed dinners and pairs wines based on those topics.
Find us, the Wine, Dine, and Storytime podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, and give us a follow.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and you know I've had this date circled on my calendar. It is the mid-season finale time for Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
The real flagship show. Yeah, I said it, and what?
It's a weird way to speak about Worlds Beyond.
Oh, you stop that. I admit, ODPH Society, I did try watching that show. I just could not make it through. So if anybody has, please let me know what you thought of it. If it's worth giving a second shot to. I couldn't do it. I will say this, though, and I've been waving the Fear the Walking Dead flag for a while. It's been the best show in the Walking Dead universe, bar none. It has done a lot of things that the old show used to do, because the flagship show has gotten a little bit stale, in my opinion.
Yeah, a little bit. I'll admit that.
Yeah, it's just been not willing to take risks, not doing anything with certain major characters. It's playing it too safe at times. It really doesn't make me excited to watch. However, though, Fear goes into a lot of different directions. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. But when we jumped into this season of Season 7, we came off with one of the wildest takes I have ever heard, and that is having a nuclear warhead go off in the zombie apocalypse, because the group led by Morgan Jones, played by the one and only Letty James, was trying to stop the Doomsday Cult and Pad's favorite cultist.
Oh, John Glover.
Yes. From blowing up the world, and they did not do it entirely. They had one go off, so now they're fighting the elements along with fighting each other in the threats that happen in the zombie apocalypse. So this season has definitely been an interesting one for a couple different reasons. We've seen the rise to power of Victor Strand, played by the one and only Coleman Domingo, who is absolutely fantastic in this role, and how he's really making a point to take Morgan Jones down by any means necessary. That their battle back and forth, and they have strong chemistry together, and it really resonates on screen. The only drawback I would say this season thus far that we've seen is when they get together for being such frenemies and such deadly frenemies, they do play it a little more tame at times. Like, it seems kind of rushed that Strand appears or Morgan appears.
Right.
And there isn't a lot of payoff, so to speak. But we have finally gotten to a point with this episode for the mid-season finale entitled Padre that we get a lot of answers finally delivered, but we get a lot more questions raised. So I'm breaking down the mid-season finale of Fear the Walking Dead. You know the drill by now. Once the countdown is done, it's spoiler talk of the episode because there's a lot to digest here. So that being said, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I really enjoyed this episode because they went a lot of different directions.
Okay.
And I will say it was great to see Alicia back, played by Alicia Demcary. And she has been a character that we have not seen since she was trapped in the Doomsday Bunker from the Doomsday Cult.
Oh, okay.
So we finally get a little bit of idea what is going on. And they do open up the episode of showing how Teddy, played by John Glover, leaves her to lead the new world after the bomb goes off. And, well, we see that she finally does escape the room, even though she does run into what's left of his minions. And there's a very awkward scene that goes on that she is picked up walking through the building. And during the Doomsday Cult, they did have a walker tied to a tree, like representing the Tree of Life. Yes, he is a psychopath, so this does make sense. It's the Walking Dead universe. We need to stress this. Some things just happen. Just roll with it.
Yeah.
And we do see that Alicia is almost bitten by the zombie because she's getting forced into it, as being perceived as being a threat to the group, until somebody recognizes who she is.
Oh, yeah?
And says, oh, you're the leader. You're the one that's supposed to take us to the promised land. We're all yours. Hey. Alicia, at this point, though, grabs the guy that was trying to kill her, shoving in the zombie, and shoves him in. And steals his gun and is like, no, we're doing this my way. And we find out that she runs into a character known as Will, who we have seen at the beginning of the season, who played by Gus Halper. And that was the one that Strand threw off the top of the building in the first episode of this season.
Oh, jeez.
So that's going to come into play. So we do see the background of what is going on with them, and we do find out the mystery of Padre, which has been this figure, being, so to speak, that everybody this season has been looking for. And when it's finally revealed, Padre is not a person, it's a place. And allegedly, it is the one place that will rebuild society. Which is a little crazy. It's a government-issued one, so this is kind of tying into the theory about how this whole zombie apocalypse started. So Alicia is trying to get there. However, though, there's one person that knows how to get there, and that is a dead senator that is now a zombie. That is trying... I guess they've now added this another element to the zombie mythos, that if you transform, you still have somewhat of your memories, because the moral of this episode, once we get to present time, is we see Alicia is following this undead character and almost using it as like a bloodhound on a trail to get to where she needs to go. It's kind of this weird dynamic that, I don't know, Pat, what do you feel about that?
That is quite the interesting dynamic they got going on. And the fact that, what did you say, that like they keep memories after their turn?
Well, because that's the thing, because how would an undead zombie know where to go?
That's true.
See, that's something that they've never touched upon, which I thought was a brilliant twist. Like, just for being something different, because obviously we've now been through how many years of the Walking Dead universe on AMC?
11 plus.
Right. To do something different like that, I thought was a very cool twist. Now, we do see that during how, in the flashback sequence, Alicia's chasing after this dead zombie through these underground tunnels, because they did figure out a way to get out of the bunker and was going through the sewer system.
Yeah.
Or piping. And during this, well, she winds up getting bit.
Oh, jeez.
So, you know how this usually plays out in the zombie apocalypse.
Not well.
No, and you do see one of the more graphic ways she gets rid of her arm with like some of the steel that's in this tunnel that's caved in on her.
Yeah.
It's not for the squeamish, which I have to say, I was here for, because this show does not hold back its punches when it throws them. I was good with this. So we do see that once she is brought to safety by Will, she has no arm, and we do know that Will is taken off trying to find Padre on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So then they flash back to present time. And this is where those zombies from last episode exploded and obviously have been used as like weapons, where now Alicia's group has to run.
Uh-oh.
Which makes a lot of sense, obviously, because you're seeing this red cloud of radioactivity coming towards you. You got to stay safe. So the group that she's leading is now running, and Morgan is now following her, and they're now chasing after this zombie to take him to Padre. So this kind of goes a little back and forth, and we do see this moment where Strand's soldiers now come after Morgan, because, well, after the events of last episode where Morgan tried killing Strand, yeah, Strand's got a little axe to grind.
Mm-hmm.
And he does one thing that I was surprised to see him do, and that was he left the tower.
Yeah.
Now, he's been going back and forth. I will say, if there's one drawback this season, but I think it ties into his character, so it's not a full drawback.
Yeah.
He's been very erratic.
Oh, all right.
Very, like, back and forth. Like, the power that he's now finally wanted, or finally he's always wanted, has finally come.
Yeah.
He can't handle it. You're seeing him just act so erratic and just moody.
Yeah.
That this kind of plays into it. So I'm not going to hold it against the writing staff on this, because that's the way I took it. But some people would be like, okay, why is he doing this? He just said last episode he's not leaving the tower. He can't leave the tower, blah, blah, blah. He does. And we do see that obviously Morgan and Alicia are now covered, though, in walker guts, because they're following the walker and they don't want to get bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to duck Strand, who is now shooting at them. And then we do have the eventual meetup of Strand, Alicia, and Morgan.
Yeah.
Which this has been playing off a lot over the past couple seasons, because there is a connection, a genuine friendship between Alicia and Strand. It's one of the few characters that Strand gets along with in this zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. We finally got the payoff, and where we're going with this is Strand is offering asylum to Alicia. That after he threw Will off because he wanted to hurt Alicia,
yeah,
he's now saying, you can be ruling this with me. And Alicia is not having this, and she's basically arguing about it. And when Strand is like, kill Morgan, because he's getting mad because Morgan is basically telling Alicia, like, listen, we can survive, we can do this without him, we don't need to go here. They try attacking Morgan with a zombie, since they're pinned down and trapped. Alicia throws her arm in front of the zombie.
Oh, jeez.
Now, see, at this time in the episode, though, we didn't know about the flashback sequence we went over.
Right.
So at this point, we're like, oh, crap, Alicia's just got bit. Strand is freaking out because he's like, wait. All right, well, she's dead. I'm gone. He goes back to, like, basically console himself.
Yeah.
So once we find out that Alicia's arm is gone, and kudos to the special effects team, they literally had the arm down to the bone.
Yikes.
Held together. Like, it's freaky. It looks horrific. It was great. We get the backstory about, her losing the arm. And then now she is fully convinced, though, that she is not cured of the zombie virus.
Understandable.
Like, she feels that she's still going to turn.
Yeah.
But I guess my question at this point, too, is doing the time frame.
Yeah.
Have we established a length of time from when you're bit like that to when you turn?
I think it's alluded to in the first season of Walking Dead. That, like, they don't outright say it takes X minutes, Y hours, this many days, this many weeks. I want to say it's briefly alluded to, in the first season. I want to say in the video game from Telltale, it's kind of alluded to as well. It's not long, from what I remember. That I think it depends on the person, how much they were bit, how deep it goes. But it's not very long. Like, I'm not saying it's like, 5 minutes and you're dead, but like, it's not, you're good for 6 months.
Yeah, see, that was the only thing that I was sitting there going like, wait, you got bit a while ago, because the time frame is not like next day here. So I think Alicia is just so worn out and broken down that she's not thinking straight. So this is where I'm going to say, this is a little loophole for the writers if they want to extend Alicia on the show, and I hope they do, because she's one of the better characters on here, in my opinion. So it's kind of just this gray area that they haven't really kind of explained, but it's something that she's living off of moving forward with this. As the episode goes forward, we do find out that they do trail the zombie senator, as it's determined to be, to Padre. And Pad, any guesses where Padre is?
No.
The Tower of Strand.
Oh, that figures.
So everything comes back full circle.
I did a little bit of searching, and courtesy of the Walking Dead Wikipedia, or not Wikipedia page, Walking Dead Reddit page. Somebody 3 years ago did ask, how long does it take to turn? Quote, I've seen a ton of theories on the time it takes for a body to reanimate after death, but none on how long the turn time is for someone who was bit while alive. It seems to take a few hours for some people and days for others, but I'm not sure. Does anyone know? I'll give you the real answer in a second. This is why you always sort Reddit threads by top comment, because they're always fucking hilarious. The top comment is, it takes as long as it's convenient to the plot to make something happen. Not wrong. But the answer does appear to be, quote, in the first season, they say it can take anywhere from 3 minutes to 8 hours. Maybe it's 2 minutes. It's in the CDC building.
Interesting. So like I say, I think it's just leaning more towards Alicia's delusional at this point, because I think at one point in the episode they said she hasn't eaten in days, and she's obviously dealing with a lot of emotional trauma here going on, and rightfully so. It's like, this is not an easy world they live in right now. So it's not to say it's out of the realm of thought that she is not thinking straight.
Sure.
However, though, when she gets to the Tower of Strand, as I'm going to call it, Strand is there waiting and is trying to really figure out, okay, what is going on and, what is happening here, and offers the asylum and basically says, join me. As she's looking around, though, she does see zombies on the ground.
Uh-oh.
And who does she see? Will, who was thrown off the roof.
Oh, okay.
And notices the chain. And more or less goes, what happened here?
Right.
And Strand, I will say this. There's one person he's never lied to, and that's Alicia. And when he does this, he fesses up he killed him.
Oh, okay.
He says, because he loved you, and that would have broken you away from coming to me, to kind of paraphrase a little bit. And basically, Strand was so obsessed with the idea of Alicia coming back and being safe because of how much he cares for her, that he thought that Will would be the distraction and that try to ruin what they had built up, because Strand has been living and dying off this idea that love doesn't conquer, that love is a hindrance. And no matter, if you're romantically loving or family love or, however you want to define it, Strand sees that as such a weakness. he's like, you shouldn't care about anybody. You need to worry about surviving. If you play your role, you can live here in the tower. Well, Alicia basically says, you killed an innocent person.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do other than help people and help save me. I'm going to hurt you. You want to hurt somebody that has love? I'm going to hurt the one thing you love. I'm taking your tower.
Wow.
End of scene. So now we get the scene preview for the mid-season return, which is going to be April 17th. So if you haven't been watching Fear the Walking Dead and you want to catch up, no excuse now. They're taking a real long hiatus. We now see there's going to be the battle for the tower. And this is going to be, I want to say it kind of felt like any other battle we've seen in the Walking Dead universe, but I'm trusting the writers at Fear to really do something crazy. Like, could it be possible that Strand actually wins? Are we going to be killing off some major characters? This is where the possibilities are endless, because as of right now, the mid-season trailer got me excited because I've seen these characters now for a while and seeing how they're going to set this up, and basically the one safe place in this zombie apocalypse is no longer safe. And what will Strand do, and will he actually kill Alicia off, which he's always said, he would never cross a line about.
Right.
Now is he going to? And now that Alicia has basically staked her claim, we're taking your tower, this is how Strand is really going to have to find a way to win, and how much he's losing his grip on reality as is appearing. I don't know how he's going to do it. This is going to be some dramatic TV I'm super excited about. And going into the next mid-season, we did get some very cool Fear the Walking Dead news that also leaked out. One, it's been renewed for season 8.
Okay.
So very happy to hear that. I was actually surprised, happily surprised, because how this season is going is like either they're going to leave Texas where they're stationed,
right,
and go to a new state, or like how are you going to keep surviving the zombie apocalypse? But the big news that definitely generated a bunch of Walking Dead headlines is they're bringing back Kim Dickens.
Okay.
She played Madison, the mom, on season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead. She is a very big part of this Fear universe, and we have not seen her in a very, very long time. So it has been leaked out that we will see her at some point during the back half of this season.
Okay.
And she's going to be back full-time in season 8. So that is a very cool thing. If you haven't seen her character, she got a lot better as the series has progressed. Because if you know me, you know I do not love season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead, and I outright cannot stand season 2. I jumped back in late. She was already gone, but I've been kind of catching up a little bit on what happened. She got a lot better as the season went on, her character. So definitely it'll be cool to see her come back, and obviously her versus Strand could be an interesting play too. I could definitely see that happening. Either way, Fear the Walking Dead, in closing. Definitely go check out if you're looking for your zombie fix. They did a lot of creative stuff this season. The only drawbacks I would say is when they finally had Strand and Morgan meet up.
Yeah.
Not a lot of payoffs at times. However, though, they did have a couple really good, strong episodes. The Portrait is one of my favorite ones they did. Albeit, though, I thought they telegraphed a little bit, but not enough to really take me out of it. And like I say, the job that Lenny James and Coleman Domingo has been doing on the show has really been stepping up. The battle of Morgan Jones versus Victor Strand is really going to turn it up a couple notches now that Alicia's involved. And to see where we're going to go for next season, or the mid-season break, I can't wait. Like, April 17th can't come here soon enough. I gave you my take. I'm telling you, go out and watch Fear the Walking Dead, so hit me up on that hashtag ODPH pod. Have you been watching Fear the Walking Dead? What did you think about the mid-season finale? Give it a shot and let me know, and we'll definitely be discussing this on social media moving forward. That being said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sidemen Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna go
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got for those one-shots?
Got a couple of things to talk about. The first of which is very exciting to me and should be exciting to a lot of you. You all know how much I love Batman the Animated Series. It is one of, if not the best, animated series of all time. You can fight me on that one. Mm-hmm. But the Bat family, we know from Batman the Animated Series, is getting back together in a way. This time in podcast form. Back during this past weekend at Los Angeles Comic-Con, not to be confused with San Diego, Kevin Conroy, John Glover were on a panel and revealed that an audio drama is in the works that's going to be a continuation of Batman the Animated Series. So in this, according to those actors, the writer Alan Burnett, who worked on a lot of the episodes for Batman the Animated Series, is involved in developing the project. Conroy said, quote, "It's a great script by Alan Burnett and it brings back the original cast. History of the Batman," he said during the History of the Batman panel hosted by London Jackson. Glover said, quote, "The Riddler's back and he's evolved in many ways. He understands he's on the spectrum," close quote. Will Friedle, we should know, was also on the panel. He was Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond. So this is going to be super interesting to see, especially to see who they get back. You had Paul Williams as the Penguin, Richard Mall as Two-Face, David Warner as Ra's al Ghul, Diane Persing as Poison Ivy, Adrienne Barbeau as Catwoman, Ron Perlman as Clayface, Melissa Gilbert as Barbara Gordon, and Lauren Lester as Dick Grayson and Nightwing. So this will be very interesting to see, especially if they get Mark Hamill back, because Mark Hamill has gone on record saying he's done playing Joker. So if they're able to convince him to come back, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, this is fantastic news. I'm super amped up about this.
DC's got some work to do just because Marvel does such great work with their audio drama podcasts. If they're able to pull off even close to what Marvel does for theirs, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I agree too. It's just Marvel has set a good benchmark. So DC is taking notes. And I mean, obviously podcasts are kind of a big deal. You're listening to one right now.
Switching over to some video game news. This came as very much a shock. Not a shock that something new was announced for it, but just the contents of it were announced. So as a lot of people are familiar, you might not be familiar, there was a game that came out in 2013, September 17th to be specific, for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and that was Grand Theft Auto 5. So that was the next entrant in the Grand Theft Auto series, which I've played multiple times on both PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. It's a fun game. A lot of money, a lot of success, a lot of, I don't know if controversy is the right word, but it's very polarizing with folks.
At the time it was.
And it's still polarizing because it's getting a third release, second re-release with PlayStation 5 and the new Xboxes, so what, do you really need to buy it a third time? Is it really adding anything? But when it initially came out, there was supposed to be some story DLC for the game, I remember. But once GTA Online came out and once they got the bugs worked out, because holy shit, you couldn't play that right for the first month when that came out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. I know folks who lost their cars in GTA Online because there were so many issues. It started making money hand over fist, like ridiculous amounts of money. So they kind of, Rockstar kind of canned any ideas of doing some story. So ever since September 17th of 2013, because I'm sure there's some people who beat that story in one day, we haven't heard anything about the three main characters in Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. There's been glimpses and there's been kind of allusions to them, in the online universe, in the online verse, because it's set before the game, but there's stuff that's in the game that's not, or online that's not in the game. It's confusing. It's more confusing than the Flash timeline. But it was announced today with the next GTA Online update titled The Contract. We're going to be getting an interesting update. So this is releasing on December 15th. And reading from the news article on rockstargames.com, quote, "In the years since he and his accomplices knocked over the Union Depository, renowned Los Santos hustler Franklin Clinton has been making moves on his own." For those who don't know, Franklin is one of the main characters you play in the game. Welcome to F. Clinton and Partner, a new celebrity solutions agency catering to the Vinewood elite in need of solutions to high society problems. Franklin needs two things: a reliable partner and a big-ticket, high-profile client. With your longtime Los Santos contact, a new aspiring cannabis entrepreneur, Lamar Davis, making the connection, you can be the partner that helps Franklin take the business to the next level. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, DJ Pooh has been reaching out to Franklin about an exciting potential client, his close friend, Dr. Dre.
Interesting.
And if you watch the trailer, folks, Dr. Dre is in this. It is his voice. So he done work for this. Lost in the shuffle on his way to Cayo Perico last year, it turns out Dr. Dre's phone isn't just missing, it's in the wrong hands. Not only that, but the phone also contains the hottest property in the city. New, unreleased music from Dr. Dre himself. This could be the big break your agency needs. Get ready for a wild and hilarious ride through Los Santos, from the mean streets of Franklin's old neighborhood to the hottest parties in the city, from debaucherous mansions to the offices of the FIB and everywhere in between, as you join Franklin, expert hacker Imani, Chop the Dog, and crew to secure Dr. Dre's precious tracks and return them to their rightful owner. So very interesting, because we're going to finally be getting an update on Franklin and one of the main characters from the story after almost 10 years.
Yeah, this is wild.
Also, they got Dr. Dre in the damn thing, and they do play some of the music in the trailer. I played it with Ken. It's new music.
It's brand new music.
It's not something from The Chronic or 2001 or anything he was featured on. It's new Dr. Dre music, folks.
Give it to me, and give it to me now, especially the state of hip-hop right now, in my opinion. We could use some Dr. Dre. Immediately.
Yeah. We also got a new trailer, new little teaser today for the Book of Boba Fett, which is quickly creeping up on us, folks.
I know, it's crazy.
Comes out in 3 weeks exactly as we record, December 29th. Not going to go through the trailer and break it down bit by bit, because it's only 60 seconds. The only thing I will note is that I think we might be getting, the backstory and finding out just exactly how Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc. Because there's a line in the trailer where he says, I was left for dead on the sands of Tatooine. And that's towards the end of the trailer. And at the beginning of the trailer, there is a shot of Boba Fett in a Bacta tank, which, if you don't know, that it's what Luke was in Empire Strikes Back in the beginning third of the movie, after he got rescued from the snow, which heals people, and it's like their medical system. So, and the background of that scene is a little too clean to be anywhere on Tatooine. So methinks we're going to be getting the backstory of how Boba Fett survived.
And I'm here for this. I am so here for this.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. I'm trying to contain my excitement because I don't blow out anybody's eardrums, but Boba is the best. Any new content from him, and especially fixing the egregious error that Lucasfilms did to him way back when, I'm all for. So you know what? Give it to me.
Yeah.
I can't wait till the 29th. God, it's coming up so fast.
And then lastly, but certainly not least, it was announced just the other day. Let me look at the date. 2 days ago. So back on Monday. From the folks over at Insomniac Games, that there's going to be an update coming to the Spider-Man PlayStation 5, remastered game. So this is the remaster of the PlayStation 4 game that came out on the PlayStation 5. And what you're going to be getting in this is dropping on December 10th. You're going to be getting 2 new suits in the game. From the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home film. If you go to online and you search the trailer, you'll find it. But you do see one suit, which is the new red, gold, and blue suit, which you see Peter Parker done in some of the footage and trailers and such. The other one you're going to be getting in the game is the black and gold suit from the trailer, which is a lot of speculation of who's in the suit, what it does, this and that. So those are going to be coming on December 10th. Now, I should note, this is for the PlayStation 5 remastered version only. Whatever goddamn reason, Insomniac isn't giving it to the PS4 version, so I don't have a 5 yet, so I won't be able to play as those new suits because I don't have a 5 yet, because it's fucking impossible these days. But that is something cool to see with No Way Home right around the corner.
Big moves right there. I'm definitely excited to see it. It looks dope.
Yeah.
I can't wait to check it out. So for my one shots, all right, we're talking some comics. So this week at the shops, DC Comics has got a lot of Batman books coming out.
Yeah.
To put it mildly. But the biggest one that was catching my eye is Batman 118. This is Josh Williamson's first Batman book.
Oh, okay.
So this is the new era is taking over as the chapter begins. It says right on the cover. So definitely excited to go check out what's going on there.
Yeah.
And then for parlay points, because I did a couple blogs on them, Boom Studios has a massive week coming out right now. I'm definitely excited to see everything that's going to be out of the shops. But the 2 books that stuck out to me, Basilisk, number 5.
Okay.
So I've been covering this book. It's by Cullen Bunn and Jonas Scharf. This is a very, very cool book. It's not for everybody, but this continues the battle against the Chimera, and it's a wild read. Okay. So I was super excited to pick it up from Boom Studios, and I know we don't really delve into Power Rangers too much.
Sure,
but I really want to make sure this pushes getting through to our ODPH society. The work that Ryan Perot's doing at Boom Studios with the Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers books, respectively, is some of the best stuff you're going to be able to pick up on the shelves.
Okay.
Right now, the Eltarian War is continuing. We had a lot of big moments going on in the Power Rangers mythos going on here. I'm loving every issue I've read so far. I'm showing Pad the cover right now.
Ooh.
Because
nice.
This was some very,
cool.
very cool piece of work that was going on here. So definitely make sure you go pick up both issues while you go to the comic shops, along with checking out everything there. And go support your local comic shops, especially this time during the holiday season. And I can't stress enough, too, if you have a pull list, make sure it's paid off by Christmas. Don't leave any books there over the holidays. Make sure you catch up for them. Give them a nice treat for all the hard work they've been doing there.
Don't let the comics be like the island of misfit toys.
Exactly. And make sure to always support your independent podcasts, supporting the comic industries, too. Shout out to our guy, Brian Wayne, Cheers Comics. So DC Comics had also another big announcement, too, via Twitter.
Uh-huh.
Tom Taylor announced he has signed an exclusive deal with DC.
Yo.
The biggest writer in comics is now going to be locked at DC up for the immediate future. A lot of great work he's been doing over there. So if you haven't been following him, especially Nightwing right now.
Oh, so good.
And everything he's doing in the Superman family there. Listen, he does amazing work no matter what he touches, and DC is very, very lucky to have him there. So that's kudos to him on there. And unfortunately, to end the show on a very, very sad note, George Perez, legendary artist in comics, announced on his Facebook page that he has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
This is heartbreaking news.
Yeah.
This is, if you know me personally, you know cancer took my dad. And seeing this happen with George, it absolutely just wrecked me. So, to him and his family, thank you. And, on behalf of the panel, our thoughts and love are, to you at this time. Pad.
Yeah, no, it's definitely hard for the comic industry, and it definitely sucks to hear. Cancer fucking sucks. I've had a number of folks in my family, suffer from cancer in various stages and forms. It's never easy. It fucking sucks. So definitely send your love and thoughts out to him and his family. And his friends and coworkers and everyone who's been touched by his life, because he's definitely a guy who you might not know the name, but you look up what he did and some of the stuff he's done over the years, and it's just so great and so classic. And I can't take credit for this, but somebody online had the idea of whoever would be able to do this and have the rights and the power, because I guess he was behind or had some dealing with the Justice League versus Avengers line. Reprint that, and then any sales that go from the reprinting of those, books or comics or what have you, because in this day and age, it would make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Any proceeds from that go to his family.
I will 1,000% back that. That is a fantastic idea.
Like I said, not my idea, but something I read online, and I'm like, that's a great idea.
Yeah, just for his work is legendary. And if you haven't checked his stuff out, do yourself a favor and go research his stuff. It is so epic, and it's amazing. And just the little details he does with art. Like, I can't even stress about how amazing he is as an artist, and just how much it resonates with me as a fan. I'll say, for example, when I saw the cover for Infinity Gauntlet #1, I had no idea about the book. I actually took a little break from comics. And I remember going to Fat Cat Books locally in JC, in our 607 area. I saw it on the shelf, and I literally stared at it for like 5-10 minutes.
Sure.
Before I could even pick it up, because I was like, this is like one of the most impressive things I've ever seen on a cover. And it's his work. And going and doing a deep dive of his stuff, you truly appreciate just every detail he did.
Yeah.
And just the legendary stuff he's been on Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, so I'm looking at his Wikipedia page. In the 80s, while he was still doing work on the Avengers for Marvel, he began work for DC Comics, on the new Teen Titans. So he did that. He did Crisis on Infinite Earths, which you mentioned. He also worked on the 1987 reboot of the Wonder Woman franchise.
Mm-hmm.
He was involved in the New Titans. Did some work with Superman, War of the Gods, and Infinity Gauntlet. Did some more work with the Avengers. It's a long list, and it would be way too long to go over now. So, like I said, it's one of those things that like you don't know, you might not know the name, but once you go through and you go, oh, I know his work. Once you see what he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mitch Gerards put it out best on Twitter, and to quote him, "The silver lining here is we have time to let him know that he is the absolute GOAT." And that is 1,000% the truth. And if you want to jump in some very cool threads on Twitter, go check out Comic Book Couples Counseling. They have been doing a thread where they want you to quote, retweet your favorite artwork of his.
Sure.
And, and definitely talk about it. And the amount of outpouring for that has been truly phenomenal. So shout out to them for doing it. Our guys over at Comic Book Keepers have been doing George Perez tributes as well. Listen, let him know how much he absolutely meant. And like I say, for me, he's one of my favorite artists. And hearing that news is absolutely devastating. And it just completely floored me when I heard this.
Yeah.
So, like we said, our thoughts are with him and his family right now, and absolutely fuck cancer.
Yeah, and I pulled up a quote from the great Brian Michael Bendis. He posted a photo just yesterday as we record, and I'm showing Ken the photo there. Yeah. The caption reads, "Avengers Farewell" by George Perez. This single spread is the one time I got to work with him, and it moved me so much. No one's work meant more to me growing up. I talk about this in my old TED Talk. For many people my age, George's work was the first time someone's signature style waved us in, made the world around the heroes way more believable, and you could just stare at the art all day and get your money's worth. This spread was one of the last things he chose to do for Marvel. This was the last spread before we launched hashtag New Avengers. So it's absolutely gut-wrenching, but like Mitch Gerards put it best, he's still here and there is still time to just tell him how great he is.
Absolutely. So make sure to let it be known on social media. Like I said, jump in those threads, post some great art that he's done, because there is so much. And like JVD, our guy from Villains Demand, Crossover Collision, actually got to meet him.
Oh, hey.
And I know he's had a picture up, and remember when I did the crossover episode with those guys, he told me about how he got George and met him, and just like, it's like I say, let him know. Don't hesitate to say it. Let him know. And what else can you really say from there? Usually I go into the long outro, but I'll keep it very short and very sweet for everything that is the ODPH podcast, odphpodcast.com. For the one and only Padawan J.
Fuck cancer.
I'm your host, Ken M. Fuck cancer. Thank you, as always, for listening to the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. We'll see you next time.